Today we are going to deal with a special problem with fracture shaft of femur. Important thing is, if this is the head, this is the neck, this is the trochanter, this is the lesser trochanter, and here you have the condyles. Then a fracture shaft of femur anywhere, the proximal fragment will abduct and the distal fragment will adduct, because abductors are attached proximally and adductors are attached distally, basically. Now what happens that if this is a blood vessel, here you have fat, and there has been bleeding. Because of bleeding, the blood pressure is low, and therefore it sucks fat into the veins, and these veins carry the blood to the right side of heart, and the right side of heart pumps the blood into the pulmonary vessels, and there they go on to clog the pulmonary circulation. So these fat globules clog the pulmonary circulation, and therefore the lung, which depends on perfusion, that means there must be blood, ventilation, that means there must be air, and diffusion, that means gases should be able to diffuse from air to blood and vice versa. So here the perfusion fails. Now because of the failure of this perfusion, because of this embolism, the fat moving from the fracture site, mostly seen in fracture shaft of femur, into the veins and then through the inferior vena cava into the pulmonary vessels and clogging the pulmonary vessels, so that there is no return of blood to the left atrium and left ventricle, and therefore the end diastolic filling decreases and the blood pressure falls. So on one hand there is failure of perfusion, and therefore there is failure of oxygenation, and because of this oxygenation, decrease in oxygenation, there is hypercapnia, and there may be cyanosis if the hemoglobin levels are above 6, above 7, 8. So hypercapnia and cyanosis, the patient has effects of anoxia. But on the other hand, since the blood doesn't return back to the heart, there is shock. Now, if a fracture shaft of femur presents with altered consciousness, irritability, tachycardia, a falling blood pressure, increasing respiratory rate, cyanosis, evidence of hypercarbia, CO2 excess, and this is shown by flapping tremors, then the respiration becomes irregular, suggesting anoxia of the brainstem, and this is called as Biot's breathing. Then it becomes shame stroke, and then there can be a respiratory arrest. So these are the features that will make you suspect fat embolism. Now how is this fall of blood pressure different from hypovolemic shock? It is different from hypovolemic shock because the blockade is here. Therefore veins would become prominent and there will be an increase in central venous pressure. In hypovolemic shock, the veins would collapse and there will be decreased CVP. So this thing, fat embolism, is like, in this manner, it is like cardiac tamponade, but cardiac tamponade is found in chest injuries and you have different physical signs. Fat embolism is usually found in fractures of the shaft of femur or fractures of the pelvis. Now what should you do? You should basically decrease coagulability. Coagulability means that if this is a small vessel and this is a big vessel, if this vessel gets clotted and the blood stops here because of stasis, because of this rough surface, the blood will also stop here. Therefore, gradually what happens, that the clot keeps on extending from smaller to larger vessels. It will stop here then. So the area of the lung infarct goes on becoming bigger and bigger. So the first thing is that you decrease coagulation. The second important thing is that you tend to increase perfusion. Perfusion you increase by low molecular dextran, Lomodex. These low molecules help decrease the viscosity and so the blood keeps on flowing. The third thing you want to do is give oxygen. The fourth thing is you want to promote membrane stability, so you have to give steroids. And the fifth thing that you have to do is you try to maintain the blood pressure. And you maintain blood pressure by inotropes. So this is the management of fat embolism. And lastly, the most important thing is that you monitor the patient, the general condition, the consciousness, the pupil, the pulse, respiration, temperature, blood pressure, intake output, blood gases and electrolytes. So this is the monitoring part of a patient of fat embolism.